So antigenic drift and antigenic shift, we are all familiar with this, but I'll tell you a little bit of this drift and shift. When I was doing my UG, it was always confusing. What is drift, what is shift? So we used to remember drift means drift is a slow process which is happening. So only minor changes will be happening in the influenza A virus, especially the changes also will occur where? In the hemagglutinin proteins. So there is minor changes which is occurring very slowly, it is occurring very continually and through small mutations, that is through point mutations, okay. So that will result in a new strain which of the same hemagglutinin type, okay. So this is antigenic drift. Antigenic shift is different. Antigenic drift, what happens? This is the original strain. Many point mutations are occurring in this. So slowly what happens? This is the original strain. In this new strain, there are some hemagglutinins which are getting added. So minor changes which are occurring through point mutation in the original strain, that is called as an antigenic drift. It will keep accumulating the point mutation. Antigenic shift means, see here there is one virus, that is avian virus, and here there is a human virus. Both these viruses are affecting this host. Here swine is the host, for example. So this is one avian virus, this is one human virus. Both these viruses are affecting this host. So this host has two viruses at the same time. What happens when there are two viruses at the same time? Genetic reassortment occurs in that new host. When there is genetic reassortment in the new host, what happens? A new virus will come. So a major change will happen because of the genetic reassortment. This major antigenic change, that is called as an antigenic shift. There is a completely new strain, and this antigenic shifted strain has got the potential to cause pandemics. Okay, not the antigenic drifted strain, but the antigenic shifted strain is the one which will cause pandemics. So this is the genetic reassortment, or this is called the antigenic shift. So know the difference between drift and shift. Drift is nothing but small point mutation. Shift is a genetic reassortment. Okay. There has been continuous antigenic variation starting from 1918. See, Spanish flu came in the year 1918, which was caused by the avian flu, that is H1N1. Then there was another strain, H2N2, which is the Asian flu in 1957. All these are pandemics. Okay, all these are pandemics which has lasted for 2 to 3 years. And then came another H3N2 in 1968, which was called as Hong Kong flu. In 1977, Russian flu caused by another H1N1. 2009 was the last pandemic of flu, which was caused by swine flu H1N1. So there are 4 to 5 major pandemics. Of course, the last pandemic was arrested. So 4 major global pandemics have been taking place in the last 1 century. So coming to the risk factors for influenza. So influenza is a minor illness mostly, but who are all at risk, we should understand. Why are we administering influenza vaccine to for less than 5 years and to those specific risk groups? Because these risk groups will go in for pneumonia, ARDS, will go in for systemic manifestations, disseminated picture will happen. So risk groups we have to identify. Okay. First is a chronic condition, be it a chronic pulmonary condition, be it a chronic cardiac condition or a neuromuscular illness. So any chronic condition is a risk factor. Children less than 2 years of age, and these are the risk factors. But even up to 5 years, nowadays even up to 7 years, we are giving the influenza vaccine. These are the risk factors. But even healthy children can get hospitalized with influenza, and 50% of the deaths, according to Nelson, it is written that even up to 50% of the pediatric influenza associated deaths have occurred in children who have no underlying medical condition. So completely healthy children, absolute healthy children have also died due to influenza. So underlying the need for influenza vaccine and prevention of influenza from person to person. So how does it replicate? Once the virus enters, so this virus has this hemagglutinin and neuraminidase. Hemagglutinin will go and attach to the sialic acid residues of the respiratory epithelium. So it gets attached to the sialic acid residues, and the entire virus, you can see here, is endocytosed. It goes into this endosome, and only the genome, that is the RNA, is released. So this RNA will be released, it is replicated, and there are this genome and the other proteins are assembled, new viral particles will be released. So the virus keeps replicating inside the human body. So it infects the respiratory ciliated columnar epithelium. So what does it do? Once it goes and attacks the respiratory epithelium, it causes, once the respiratory epithelium is affected, what happens? It decreases the mucus production. It infects the respiratory epithelium and causes lysis, and there are the cilia, impairs the cilia also. Finally, what happens? The entire respiratory epithelium is desquamated. So, what happens? Does the necrosis or this does the lysis of respiratory epithelium. So, the child will be at a risk for other secondary bacterial infections. So, a child with influenza is at a very high risk for secondary bacterial invasions. Very importantly, the influenza spreads through droplets, spreads through aerosols, spreads through fomites also. So, there is non-living things, handling of remotes, handling of mobiles. So, from an infected person. So, there is a short range transmission also and long range transmission also. So, it persists in the fomites for long time. So, very difficult to control influenza from spreading to one person to another.